What's up? Juno here. And I know it's been a while since I've made a video and I've been busy, but you know what? I figure now with the news that I want to talk about would be a good time. So I've tried making this video a few times and they don't seem to come out as good as I would like them, so hopefully this one will be alright. Now this video is going to be fairly heavy in terms of technology, so you may learn something, but if it doesn't interest you, I can completely understand, but you may want to stick around because this may affect you in a way, especially if you live in the United States. Now, the United States has over 300 million people who reside here, and a high percentage of those adults, and including teenagers and even some children, have devices, and sometimes even multiple devices, that are utilized by certain other companies for coverage. And those devices I'm talking about are cell phones. Back about 20 years ago, it was more of a luxury item. They were expensive to use, expensive to pay for, stuff like that, and not a lot of people had them, only the ones who could afford it. But nowadays, they're a dime a dozen. I could go down to the local 7-Eleven and pick up a phone for 20 bucks and have it up and running in less than 10 minutes. That would be unheard of 20 years ago. And it would have been even unthinkable maybe 30 or 40 years ago. And in the United States, we have 4 major US providers, and they use 2 different types of technology, for the most part in terms of a broad sense. Those 2 technologies are GSM and CDMA. AT&T and T-Mobile, which are 2 of the providers, use GSM. Verizon and Sprint use CDMA. And those are the other 2 major providers in the United States, just in case if you're not in the United States watching us. Now recently, AT&T has announced that they would like to buy T-Mobile and absorb the company and basically, add the subscribers to their base, and they claim they need it for infrastructure and they think it's a good thing, and they've been trying to get lawmakers to approve this merger. And I'm going to go into detail about this and why I think it's absolutely shitty in terms of choice, competition, and for consumers. Now, believe it or not, I've actually been an AT&T customer for about a decade now. However, I left AT&T for Cingular. Then, after I left, about 5 years later, Cingular bought old AT&T. Then, after about a year, year and a half, Cingular changed their name to AT&T. And that made me mad because I left AT&T because they pissed me off for some thing that they were in the wrong about, but they refused to budge on, and it really just ticked me off. I said, fuck it, I'm out, bye. But I've been contract free after my first initial 1-year contract. I've been with them, like I said, for about a decade now. And I have a good rate, and no other provider in the United States could match the type of rate, what I pay for and what I get. So I guess I'll stick around. I'm out of contract. I buy my phones unsubsidized, meaning I pay full retail price. I don't get in for the 2-year contract price, which is, $200, $100, depending on the device and stuff like that. I buy them full out retail, and I always have. Fuck, I've got a couple boxes literally full of phones, because I used to work in the phone industry. So, AT&T wants to buy T-Mobile for $40 billion, or nearly $40 billion. I believe it's $39 billion. And they've been trying to persuade legislators and lawmakers that this should be a good thing. The problem is looking at AT&T's history the past year or so, slightly over a year, they've been doing some really shitty things. They were the first US provider back in June 2010 to introduce tiered data plans, meaning unlimited data was gone, which I don't understand. I mean, of course they'd like to make more money, but they're making money hand over fist anyway, so now they want to even make more money off you. And they were the first ones and the only ones for, I would say, close to 6 months before other providers started, actually probably longer than that, before other providers started introducing caps to their data plans. Lucky for me, on my iPhone, I have the unlimited data plan. On my iPad, however, it's not as fortunate. I only have the 2 gig plan, and that's as high as you go. So, I'm paying $25 for the iPad, and I pay in total for my phone about $95. So before taxes, I'm paying about 125-ish or 120-ish. Factor in the taxes for both of them, I'm probably about 130, 135, somewhere around in there. That's just for 2 devices. That's it. So I'm paying a lot of money. I used to have a better data plan, but I had to change it. It was unlimited for $20. I got unlimited data, 1,500 text messages, and 200 pictures. Not bad, considering I'm paying $45 for unlimited data and 1,500 text messages. Now, so yeah, that's kind of shitty. And another thing they have announced recently is that they are going to start throttling users who still have the unlimited data plan. Now there's two problems with this. One, they haven't said what the limit will be before you start getting throttled. If they didn't want to lose a lot of customers, they would keep it at least 2 gigs. But seeing how they've fucked people over in other ways, which again I'll continue on after describing this, they haven't defined it. And so what are those people who have the unlimited data plan, what are they going to get throttled at? Are they going to get throttled after a gig? Are they going to get throttled after 500 megs? I use both my devices a lot. I use between 3 to 5 gigs per month on data, on wireless data, not Wi-Fi, 3G data alone. So I'm on them quite a lot. I need to for my work. I need to be in constant contact with people. So they haven't described that. Another thing they haven't described is how slow are they going to make it? Are they going to make it slower than edge speeds, which is 200K? I mean, is it going to be unusable? What the fuck? You got to lay these out. Otherwise, you look very bad and you're going to piss a lot of people off. And you see, users like me who aren't in contract can leave immediately and not pay you any more money. So, they're not thinking ahead. Another thing that they have done recently, as they call streamlining their text messaging plans, they've now introduced new pricing structures for text messages. And here's how great they are, okay? I'm going to describe the different packages for you right now, alright? So for $20, you could get unlimited text messages. Or you can pay per message. That's right. One choice. You either pay $20 on top of your voice plan, and this doesn't just mean smartphones, this is all phones, or you pay per message. That's insane. Considering $25 gets you 2 gigs of data. You know, it would cost over $2 million to send 2 gigabytes worth of text messages. Over $2 million. And the thing is text messages are so small on their network, it doesn't slow down at all. It's insane. And they say it's not going to eliminate competition and stuff like that, or they want people to believe that. If this is the future of pricing structures, this fucking sucks, man. This sucks. So, the thing that doesn't make much sense to me is they say they need to buy T-Mobile because they need it for infrastructure. I'm not buying that. The only thing immediately that would see benefit from infrastructure is the GSM side of things, which is the voice side of things. That's it. The reason because of this is that all the providers for high-speed data in the United States all use different bands or they use different technologies. T-Mobile uses the 1700 band and the 2100 band, and AT&T uses the 850 and 1900 band for 3G data. So, take for example me. Let's say the merger was completed tomorrow. AT&T absorbs T-Mobile, and now they're all one. And now we only have 3 providers, not to mention just one provider of GSM in the United States. Say I was locked into a contract. Say I just got my iPhone that's a 3G iPhone. I wouldn't be able to utilize those faster speeds, or that it increased coverage for 3G, because those devices don't support those bands. So they're going to have to do one of two things. They're either going to have to start manufacturing devices that support these bands, or swap out all the panels to 850, 1900. They didn't think this one through that much. So I really don't see it. And you see another thing too, is in the state of California, when Singular bought AT&T and absorbed all their subscribers, Singular sold off the old Singular network to focus on the shitty AT&T GSM network to T-Mobile. Now they want it back all of a sudden? Maybe you should have thought of this before you gave it away to T-Mobile, basically, or sold it to T-Mobile. You could still be making money off leasing it to T-Mobile. But no, you sold it instead, now you want it back, and now you're trying to use that as an excuse for this, why the reason this merger needs to go through? Fuck that shit. As someone who's fairly familiar with this sort of technology, you're not going to pull a fast one over on me or anyone who's well informed. And hopefully by the end of this video, people will be more well informed about this situation. So yeah, this is all around bad for everybody. The only person who benefits, or the only company who benefits for this, is AT&T. The customer gets fucked, the choice gets fucked, and competition gets fucked. Not to mention innovation gets fucked, pricing gets fucked, everything gets fucked, which sucks. And I hope that this gets blocked through and through. Luckily, the Department of Justice has decided that, nope, they're not buying it. I hope the FCC, who has recently relaunched their evaluation of this, it's going to take 6 months or so, and apparently AT&T is pushing for an expedited trial to try to get this seen, I guess, at the Supreme Court or whatever. And I don't fucking get it. I really don't fucking get it. I really hope they don't get their way. If T-Mobile goes out of business, I mean, that'll be unfortunate. I doubt they will. They'll probably get purchased by someone else, or something else will happen. They'll, I don't know. The thing is T-Mobile has very attractive pricing, and Sprint does too. And Sprint is actually the only provider who still offers unlimited data. But they have the smallest network, Sprint does. And they also are using a technology that's going to become obsolete very, very soon, even sooner than CDMA. So, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely bad for consumers, and I really hope they get stopped. But what do you think? Do you think that this is, not a big deal and the government should stay out of this? And, actually, before I close this, I've been reading comments on a lot of websites that have been reporting about this thing, and a lot of them are tech websites. And a lot of people seem to think that this is a lefty commie, intruding in the free market, what have you. And I don't think a lot of people who are clamoring for this completely free market bullshit really think that companies have their best interests in mind. They don't. If this gets passed, it's going to fuck you if you use one of these providers. I mean, you have a 50% shot for the most part, or a 33.3% shot if the merger goes through. So they're going to continue to raise prices on you and fuck you over because you think this is, the free market just needs to decide. Free market this, free market that. Fuck that noise. Sometimes, and a lot of the time, especially big industries that affect a lot of things, there needs to be certain protocols put in place that keep them in check so they don't go fucking over people. This would be an example of one of them. I would also say banks and other big industries need to be put in check and need to have some form of regulation. Otherwise, what happens? They run shit into the ground as we're still trying to recover from. And who gets fucked? You get fucked. The population gets fucked. The rich get richer and you get fucked. How does it feel to get fucked by an entity that doesn't give a shit about you and just wants more and more money? It's insane. Anyway, what do you think about this? And, if you're outside the United States, are providers in your country doing similar things? Are they trying to, fuck you over 2 ways from Sunday? I mean, what the hell is going on here? Or do you think this is a good thing? Am I completely off base here? I'd love to hear about it. Let me know in the comments or a video response or whatever. Anyway, do your part. Blaspheme daily.